In our lesson today, we are going to be looking at Economics Paper 1 past paper. This paper was written in November 2024. The topic that will be covered in this video, it is question number 3. And question number 3 focuses on economic pursuits. Question number 3 is made up of 40 marks, and the candidate is expected to spend 30 minutes of their time. Now, this question is broken down into 3.1, 3.2, and 3.3. In 3.1, you need to answer the questions that you'll be provided. In 3.2, you'll be provided a data, as well as the 3.3, you'll be provided a data. So 3.1, you answer the question. 3.2, you have to read the article before you answer the question. And then 3.3, you'll be looking at the graph that you need to analyze, then answer the questions that follows. Now let's just look at the first question. The first question is 3.1. Answer the following questions. Name any 2 countries that are part of South African Development Community. So in this question, you needed to have went through those countries in class for you to understand or to be able to respond to this question. You are required to only name 2 countries. Candidates, it is very important that you are providing what you have been asked, because in the exam, you don't have so much time to spend on trying to impress the examiner, because at the end of the day, they are only going to provide you the 2 marks for this question. So you have a lot of countries that forms part of SADC. However, the candidates needed to provide only 2 countries. I am going to provide you all the countries that forms part of SADC, just to assist you to understand which countries form part of SADC. And the reason I'm doing that, it is because in the next question, they might ask 4 countries, they might ask 6 countries. This is the past paper. It does not mean that the questions that will come will be exactly the same as what you will write in your trial, as well as the November 2024. For that reason, I am preparing you to be able to answer the questions for the paper that you will be writing. For that reason, I will provide you the different number of countries that forms part of South African Development Community. And the question now is, which are those countries? So the countries that form of SADC, it is Angola, Botswana, Comoros, Democratic Republic of Congo or DRC, Eswatini or Swaziland, Lesotho, Madagascar, Malawi, Mauritius, Mozambique, Namibia, South Africa, United Republic of Tanzania, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. Now, those are mainly the countries that are within Southern Africa. So it is very important for you to find ways to cram how are you going to recall certain type of question. And the way that you can recall this is by understanding that the countries that form part of Southern Africa, they form part of South African Development Community. Do not forget the country that you are in, which is South Africa. Then you can just recall the other countries, which will be Zambia, Zimbabwe, Namibia. Now let's look at 3.1.2. How can broad economic empowerment or BBBEE help to promote industrial development? How can the BBBEE help to promote industrial development? So you are going to be explaining here, because you need to explain how. For that reason, just 1 point will earn you 2 marks. You need to provide only 1 point and you get 2 marks. Do not waste your most exam valuable time by providing more than 1 point, because the examiner will just give you the marks for 1 point. So it is very important that you put forward your strongest point and the point that you believe that will be able to put you in the position whereby you pass this paper or this question. So now, what is triple BE? So triple BE was put forward to assist previously disadvantaged group to participate in the economy. So they participate in different ways and form. They participate through being given better opportunity to participate in higher position in the workplace, or even be given an opportunity to work in certain industry because of them being African or colored. Number two, they are given opportunity to be trained on some skills that they were not able in the past to be able to be trained under those qualifications. When it's come to bidding for the project or bidding for the tender, they are also given better opportunity to be awarded a tender through the preferential procurement policies in place. So that briefly gives you an idea what is triple BE. Now let us look at how then the BEE can help to promote industrial development. I'm going to give you 3 points. However, you only needed one, or you only need one to answer 3.1.2. So then how can the BE help to promote industrial development? Number one, an increase in the number of Black people who own business may lead to expansion of the existing industries. In South Africa, we have a lot of Black people. So if there's an increased number of Black people owning business, it means that there will be an expansion in different existing industry because a lot of people will be participating in those industries. Skill development may encourage Black people to establish new business. Remember that triple BE, it gives Black people or previously disadvantaged group an opportunity to be developed in different skills. So now this skill development may encourage these Black people who are provided skill to come up with a new business idea. So this is how the triple BE can help to promote industrial development. And the last one, preferential procurement and enterprise development may promote the establishment of Black-owned business, which may lead to expansion of industries. So now what are we trying to say? So we're basically trying to say, because now the preferential procurement enterprise development will assist Black-owned business to lead in different industries. So you needed only one. So either you decide that you choose preferential procurement enterprise, skill development, or even the participation of Black individual in different industries. And then you would have earned 2 marks just by answering one. And then we are going now to look at 3.2. 3.2 is a data response. We need to read the article, then respond from what we have read in the article. It is very important to remember, candidates, not everything will come from the article. However, the questions that you will be asked in 3.2 under 3.2 will be associated to the article. Some answer you can be able to pull through from the article provided. However, other question you need to remember the information from what you've learned in class. Start the extract below and answer the question that follow. It is very important that you understand you need to study the extract, and then you need to answer the question after you have studied the extract. South Africa's industrial development strategies. In recognizing the importance of manufacturing in the economy, two strategies were developed, namely the National Research and Development Strategy, known as NRDS, and the Integrated Manufacturing Strategies, known as IMS. South Africa set a target of 1.5% of the domestic product, of the gross domestic products, well known as GDP, expenditure on research and development. However, this investment decreased from 0.75 in 2019 fiscal year to 0.6% in 2022 fiscal year. So obviously, we are told that they are recognizing the importance of manufacturing in the economy. And then the two strategies were developed because of them recognizing how important manufacturing is. And they're saying they've set a target in terms of the expenditure that will be spent on the research and development. And they said that that is set at 1.5%. However, there has been a decrease from 2019 to 2022 fiscal year of 0.75% to 0.6%. It is very important, candidate, to understand and digest the article that you have been provided before you can answer the questions that follows. You need to be able to associate the first paragraph with the second paragraph. In that way, you'll therefore be able to respond to the question correctly. Now, let us look at 3.2.1. Identify the industrial development strategy that aims to improve competitiveness of the manufacturing sector. So when you're looking at 3.2.1, we have already been provided the strategies. We've been provided the two strategies, which is NRDS as well as IMS. So you need to identify the strategy from the article, and you will get 1 mark simple by getting the information from the article above. And the answer to the question is integrated manufacturing strategy. This was the easiest question because by using here the manufacturing sector, and then you can see here you have manufacturing strategy, and then it make it easy for you to understand. Therefore, it is IMS. Just try to do linkage when you are answering the question if you're not 100% sure. Now let's look at 3.2.2. Name the government department that is responsible for promoting industrial development. You need to name the government department that is responsible for promoting industrial development. So it is a bit tricky, this one, because it's not coming from the article, but you need to recall what you have learned in class. So this department is the department that you would have learned during your economics class, and now you need to respond. It is not going to come from the article. It has to be stored in your mind for you to be able to answer the question. And the name of the department, it is Department of Trade, Industry and Competition. You can call it DTI. See if you have forgotten the full name, and you'll still be given 1 mark. 3.2.3, briefly describe the term duty-free incentive. What is a duty-free incentive? As you can see the name free. Now you ask yourself, what is free? What is then free? Then it means import duties. Now briefly describe the term. So the duty-free incentive, those are initiatives taken by government to allow local business to import production input without paying custom duties. And the reason for doing that is because if I am the business that is manufacturing products, however, the input comes from outside South Africa, I can produce more if I have duty free, or I do not have to pay for customs, as opposed to when I need to pay for customs. So that's the main purpose that government is creating this initiative of saying some business do not have to pay custom duties for the input they import from countries outside South Africa. So it is duty-free incentive. By you describing, you say it is an initiative taken by government to allow local business to import production input without paying custom duties. Now, 3.2.4. 3.2.4, we need to explain the importance of corridors in promoting regional development. What are the importance of corridors in promoting the regional development? Because you're explaining here, you need to provide 1 point explaining. Do not spend so much time because you know a lot of points that are important for promoting regional development. Just provide 1 point. I am going to give you more than 1 point, and the reason I'm doing that, it is to enable you or assist you or equip you to be able to respond in your main exam when that time comes. So one of the reasons that you can put forward to explain is that it allows mining, agriculture, and manufacturing industry to have access from one area to another. We understand that mining and agricultural industry, even manufacturing, they need access to different areas. So then corridors, they provide them that access that this industry needs. It promotes efficient urbanization through establishment of new towns and in underdeveloped regions. And the last one that you can put forward is that corridors make regions more attractive to both domestic and foreign investors and fostering economic growth. So that is the importance of corridors in promoting regional development. It promotes efficient urbanization. It makes the region more attractive to investors, and therefore, by investors being attracted or interested in the region, that fosters economic development. I've provided you three. However, you need to only select one in the exam if you are going to be provided 2 marks. Because 2 marks means that you only need to provide one explanation, not more than one explanation. Now let's just look at 3.2.5. How can South African business benefit from the National Research and Development Strategy? How can the South African business benefit from NRDS? In this case, you need to provide 2 points. You need to explain 2 ways that South African business can benefit from NRDS. Why am I saying you needed to provide 2? Because we are guided by the marks, and when you're looking at the marks, it's 4 marks, and each explanation will earn you 2 marks. So you need 2 explanations. Each explanation will earn you 2 marks. Again, I am going to provide you 4, and then in the 4 that I will provide, you just need to consume 2 that you might need in future. However, because we are not trying here to cram, we need to understand why we have the 4 points that I will explain to you. So then how then can South African business benefit from the National Research and Development? Promotes initiative which allows business to use new production techniques that are more efficient and minimize their average cost of production. Remember, when you talk about the National Research and Development, they research different industry. And then by them researching different industry and the techniques that can be used to reduce the time taken to produce the product, material, the machine, and all the things that are needed to create certain products or deliver certain service, they then respond or they then provide the idea to the developers or to those business that are in those industry. So by the industry receiving the information from people who are working on research and development strategy, they are going to benefit in that way. How are they going to benefit? Because now the business can use the production techniques that they will be provided by this department on how to provide the services or produce the products more efficient. What else can happen? New production techniques with higher productivity may help business to produce more output and satisfy high demand from the consumers. It can happen that the current production method and technologies that the business are currently using are not quick. By them receiving information from national research and development, they are then able to use the new techniques and they can produce more products or deliver more service quicker than before. Business may produce better quality products and gain a competitive advantage, especially on global market. So now remember, each business in South Africa, they produce the products, sell it locally as well as outside the country. So now if in this case they are in the position whereby they have received new technology of producing quality products than before, they are going to gain competitive advantage compared to other countries, and they are able to sell from foreign markets more than before and better than any other countries. What else can happen? Lower cost of production and higher output due to innovation that may increase the company's profitability. Now they're able to produce products quicker than before. By them being able to produce the products quicker than before, it means that they are able to use less labor, they are able to use less electricity, and be able to produce more and sell at a higher profit or sell at the similar profit, but they are using lower input. Therefore, the business are able to make more profit. So what happened? We're looking at the competitive advantage when compared with other countries in the foreign market. We're looking at the fact that now they can make more profit because they are producing more. We're looking at the fact that they are getting new techniques of producing more products, better output. So that is how the South African business benefit from national research and development strategies. So from what I've discussed, then you just needed to have two. If you were to be writing the paper that was written in November 2024, unfortunately, you're not going to be writing that paper. However, I'm prepping you for your trial as well as the final. In that way, you can use this information for your final as well as the trial if the question of similar nature were to come out. So that was the end of question 3.2. Now we are moving to 3.3. As I've said again, 3.3 is also a data response. So what does it mean? We need to study the graph here, understand the graph, and then be able to answer the questions that will follow. Now let's just see what we have here. We need to study the graph below and answer the question that follow. Again, you study, then answer. So you do it in the sequence as it is stated. Study. After studying, you answer the question that follows. South African labor production growth. So we are looking at South African labor production growth in this graph. And then what do we have? We have percentage change per quarter. And we have quarter 1 of 2022, quarter 2 of 2022, quarter 3 of 2022, quarter 4 of 2022, quarter 1 of 2023, and quarter 2 of 2023. So what is happening here? We are given or we are provided full year of 2022 and we are provided only 2 quarters for 2023. it is very important for you to read with understanding and see what you are provided. In this case, we are provided full year information for 2024, for 2022, apologies. And then for 2023, we are provided only the two quarters. Then what do we see in terms of percentage change per quarter in terms of labor productivity growth? We have -10, -8, -6, -4, -2, 0, 2, and 4. This information was taken from saysdata.com, www.saysdata.com. So obviously in the exam, you are not going to be able to look at this information, understand the source. You just need to understand the graph and respond to the question. 3.3.1. Identify the percentage change in South Africa's labor productivity in fourth quarter of 2024. Where is fourth quarter of 2024? It is this part. And then what is the percentage change? It is -8%, because we can see that 2024 quarter 4, it's sitting on -8 here. And we're looking at this part. This was the easiest question because you're just looking at the graph and then you're responding to the question, -8. Question 3.3.2. State one other economic indicator that relate to productivity. One economic indicator. Just one that relate to productivity. It is remuneration per worker. It relates to productivity because workers are remunerated based on production. So therefore, remuneration per worker, it is the correct answer that you can use. Any other response that relate to productivity could be accepted, but I would have said remuneration per worker. It's 1 mark, 3.3.3. Briefly describe the term economic indicator. You need to understand this term from the lesson in class. It cannot come from the graph, but you need to recall what is economic indicator. So statistical data that is used to measure the performance of the economy. So it is any statistical data that is used to measure performance of the economy, and that is economic indicator. Any data that you use to measure the performance of the economy, it is economic indicator. And South Africa's labor productivity growth, it is an example of economic indicator because it can be used to measure the performance of the economy, how the economy is performing. So what do I mean? If the labor productivity growth is going up and is doing well, then we know that the economy is doing well. Just by explaining that, 2 marks. But just by saying it is a statistical data that is used to measure the performance of the economy, you will have earned yourself 2 marks. Then we're looking at 3.3.4. Why is access to healthy care service important for the labor force? Why is it important for the labor force to have access to healthy services? There are a number of reasons. However, they needed you to only explain one reason and get 2 marks. I'll provide you 3, but in the exam, if the question of similar nature with 2 marks were to come, you need to provide only one reason in terms of why it is important that the labor force have access to healthy care services. So let us look at that. The access to healthy care services helps to improve the mental and physical ability of workers, which increase the productivity of the labor force. Now think of you working in the factory and you are not able to go to the doctor if you have headache or if you are sick of any kind of nature, you are not going to be able to deliver the products. You're not going to be able to manufacture whatever that you are manufacturing in the factory because now your state of mind and state of being will not allow you to produce the product. However, if you are given a chance or you are able to access the health services, you are able to come back to work healthy and better and be able to produce even more product. So now that is why they're saying it helps to improve mental and physical ability of workers, which will increase the productivity of the labor force. What else? Access to affordable health care helps to minimize medical costs and contain workers' cost of living. Again, you'll see that most employers, they will subsidize the healthy or the medical aid of the employees. If you have your mother that is working in government or different like companies, you find out they are subsidized in their medical aid. And the reason for that, the companies are trying to make sure that they are able to access healthy care services and they're also trying to assist them in containing or reducing the cost of living. Access to good, healthy care can make an area more attractive to potential workers and retain skilled labor force. Again, so the reason that the employers are enabling the workforce to have access to health service and even subsidize their medical aid or being able to go to healthy care services, it is because they want to attract more skilled laborers and retain the laborers that they have already. Now let's just look at 3.3.5, which is the last question for 3.3. How can a decrease in labor productivity impact the economy? If the labor productivity decrease, how is it impacting the economy? Just think of it in generally. The laborers are producing either the products that you are using on a daily basis, the machines that you are using at work, or a number of things that they are purchasing, and also others that are delivering the services. If there's a decrease in their productivity, what does it mean for the economy? Now, here, the candidate was required to provide 2 points, and each point was going to give the candidate 2 marks. Then, total of 4 marks is available to candidates. So this helps you to guide you in terms of how are you going to earn the marks. So if the question said 2 times 2, you need to provide 2 reasons and you will be able to get yourself 4 marks. However, if you're explaining and you're given 2, it means you are required to only provide 1 explanation, 1 point, or 1 reasoning. Now let's just look at the question. A decrease in labor productivity may increase the average cost of production, which may lead to an increase in cost push inflation. Think about you are an employer, right? You have a business, and then there's a decrease in productivity. You have less hours available. That means you need to pay more to the workers. If you pay more to the workers, you are going to push the price of the product that you're selling or the service that you are giving to the public. And that result to what we call inflation. So it will result to cost push inflation because you will take the additional cost in CAT, and you'd push it to the selling price. So that is why a decrease in labor productivity is not a good thing for the economy because it results to an increase in the average cost of production, which obviously lead to an increase in cost push inflation. Production output may decrease, which may slow down economic growth and increase unemployment. Again, it makes sense because now there is a decrease in productivity, less products will be made, less services will be delivered to the public, which is not good for the economy. It slowed down the economic growth because now they would know the employers or the manufacturers or business will not be paying sufficient tax. In that way, the economy will not be doing well. Decrease in productivity may result in less export volumes, which lead to the balance of payment deficit. Again, because we have less production, we'll be buying more from outside South Africa. And by doing that, the balance of payment deficit will increase, or it will result to balance of payment deficit. And we know the country prefers or wants the balance of payment surplus, because balance of payment surplus boosts the economy, because more output is, or more products is leaving the country, and we are making money by selling outside the country. But if there's a balance of payment deficit, it means that people are coming to what? Are coming with their product to sell from South Africa. And that is not what the country wants in order to improve the economy, because it means if we are having more import, more money is leaving the country. As workers lose their jobs due to low productivity, unemployment may increase in the economy. If the unemployment increase in the economy, we all know what means. It means there will be fewer people going to the shops to buy. And if there are few people going to the shop to buy, that means there is less money that the business have, and there's less money that can be paid to SARS. So the decrease in low productivity, it impacts the economy in different ways. It impacts the economy through balance of payment deficit. It impacts the economy by decrease in the tax paid to SARS indirectly by the fact that unemployment will increase. And what else? Because there's less production, less sales, then there isn't enough money the business are making. Now let's just look at 3.4. 3.4, we need to provide 4 points. And each point will get you 2 marks, and the total of 8 marks is available for candidate. So what is the question? Discuss the advantages of import substitute for South African economy. I will provide you more than 4. And the reason we are doing that is because here we are learning to better master everything for the paper that we're writing, either in trial or November. So what are the advantages of import substitute for South African economy? Tariffs and quotas encourage local employment as more workers get jobs in industry that produce previously imported goods. So now, import substitutes basically mean that what we would have imported, we are creating internally. We're substituting the import with what we're manufacturing in the country. And that is through mainly the tariffs and quotas, which obviously blocks the certain number of import that the country is going to receive in the country. 2 marks just for saying tariffs and quotas encourage local employment as more workers get jobs in industry that produce previously imported goods. 2 marks. The second one, expansion of domestic industries to meet the demand for goods that were previously imported may promote economic development. So what does it mean? We are now producing the cars in South Africa, and we're not importing from outside South Africa. So what is happening? It means there'll be more manufacturers of cars in South Africa. It means that there will be more people employed in South Africa. And by more people being employed, it means unemployment will go down. If the unemployment goes down, what it means, more money is available for people to go buy in the shops. And by them buying in the shops, it means that there is more money going to the business, and that money going to the business indirectly goes to SARS. In that way, what is happening? There is economic development, because that money that goes to SARS will be used for different services that are needed by different number of people. That was point number 2. That will have earned you 2 marks. Reduced import have a positive effect on the balance of payment, as it reduces the current account or trade deficit. I always say the main thing that a country or any country strive for is a balance of payment surplus. What does it mean? It means you are importing less and exporting more. So now, by locally producing a lot of products, the excess will be exported and the other locally. So by doing that, we are exporting extra on those products. In that way, then we are reducing any trade deficit that we might be experiencing or any balance of payment deficit that we might be experiencing. By just stating that, you would have earned another 2 marks. A wide variety of goods is produced which expand the industrial base. If more product is produced, that makes an expansion of industrial base. That will have any 2 marks again. Know all that you've discussed, you would have earned 8 marks already. However, I am going to continue with all the possible advantages that are valuable because of import substitution in the economy. So, what could be the other thing? The increase in tax base for the state will lead to more tax revenue. Yes, more tax base because more production is made, people are employed, they're buying from the shops. Tariffs and quotas are easy and effective import control measures, which ensures domestic production is compromised. The country will be less vulnerable on foreign actions and conditions such as price increase because goods are produced locally. So now if you're purchasing the products locally, the price of each and every kind of goods is controlled in South Africa. There is no influence of e.g. Trump's. There is no other form of influence that we'll experience in terms of changes in price because everything is produced locally. That will earn you 2 marks. The available foreign exchange can be used to import other goods and services, thereby increasing consumer choice. Then, yes, there might be times where, like, okay, we've produced enough. There is still some things or some products that we need from outside the country. Then we can use the excess money that we have and buy from the other countries. And now we're not gonna be going there as beggars because we have a lot of money in the economy. So we can even be in the position where we say, you know what, we are not willing to pay this much because now the economy is doing so well. We can decide that we're not buying your products if you don't wanna give us at certain price that is affordable to us. It promotes diversification of the economy by producing a wider range of goods and services locally. And let's look at the last one. The last one will be reducing dependency on import may improve the balance of payment, and this can contribute to more stable economic environment. Think of the country that is not depending on import. Any things that are happening in other country, it is less of concern for the country. And the country can still be able to produce goods and still be able to improve economic development of the country. So that is why import substitute or substitution is very important for the economy. It has a very lot of advantages as opposed to disadvantages. And then 3.5, analyze the challenges faced by South Africa in promoting industrial development through various policies. What are the challenges that is faced by South Africa in promoting industrial development? So a candidate was required to provide 4 challenges. And each challenge was going to earn the candidate 2 marks. And how do we see that? We see from the marks arrangement. It's 4 challenges multiplied by 2, which n would have earned the candidate 8 marks. Now let us see. Then, if we look then, We have, I'm going to provide you more than four, but in the paper, if you were to get the same question, you need to only provide four, not all that I'm going to provide you. I'm going to give you eight, but the candidate was only required to provide four. So if the same question were to come, also you are or you will be required to only provide four. Now, 3.5, the question we've already read, it says analyze the challenges faced by South Africa in promoting industrial development through the various policies. The skills shortages and mismatches hinder the growth of industries which require specialized knowledge and expertise, affecting their competitiveness on the global scales. South Africa, unfortunately, does not have all the skills that we need in all industries, and that put the country in disadvantages to compete with other countries, either African countries, European countries, or any countries that South Africa trades with. Inadequate and unreliable infrastructure, including transportation, energy, and water supply lead to increased production cost and supply destruction that hinder the expansion of industry. In South Africa, we have a problem, for example, the load shedding. So the load shedding, it puts a lot of challenges in South African economy in promoting the industrial development. The industrial development is not at the stage where it should be, mainly because of load shedding. Also, our infrastructure is not at the level that we would like it to be. The number of challenges that are experienced on our infrastructure, it's not reliable as well. Burdensome regulations, bureaucracy, and uncertainty discourage investment and limit the establishment of new business. Most investors might be willing to participate in industrial development by putting their money in, but they do not have confidence in terms of whether their investment will realize or whether the money they put through will be of benefit in different developments. For that reason, they are not in the position to put their money forward because they are very afraid of what will be the outcomes, or because of the past experience of the country, which is South Africa. They are really not at the position where they want to participate in. Limited access to capital by small business, medium, and micro enterprises, which is well known as SMMEs or SMEs, delays the ability of business to invest in new technologies, upgrade facilities, and compete efficiently. The small business in South Africa do not have sufficient capital to reach their optimal level. In that ways, they unfortunately, because that is the majority of the business that are in South Africa, then the companies are not in the way that they can be able to invest in new technology, which hinders industrial development. Fluctuation in global demand, trade tension, and economic downturn of the key trading partners negatively affect export-oriented industries and the overall economic stability. Also, what are the issues that we experience? The trade tension in terms of export and import, the challenges that we might have with other countries that we are trading with, it have the effects in terms of um, industrial development. Energy constraint, including load shedding and high energy cost, distracts industrial operation, leading to decrease in productivity and competitiveness. Again, our electricity is very high. It has increased by more than 1,000% in less than 25 years. And then that puts most of the companies in the position where they aren't able to compete in their prices with a lot of other countries because of how much they paid on the electricity. Labor related challenges such as industrial strikes, wage disputes, and labor market rigidity negatively impact on industrial stability. The number of issues also that we know of in South Africa, for example, the strikes. The strikes does affect industrial development because when people are striking, the number of things that they're doing, to name the few, they might be hours lost in terms of production, and also they might destroy some of the machine or some of the building that need to be repaired. So in that way, they're putting the economic back. They're making industrial development even be harder. And the last one, we are looking at the international trade barriers may limit export volumes by South African industry, which limits the expansion of industries. So trade barriers also is our concern, or it's the main challenge when it comes to South Africa in promoting industrial development in through various policies. That takes us to the end of question 3. Thank you so much for listening up until this far. Please follow me and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also follow me on TikTok. And all the best as you prepare yourself for the trials as well as the main